Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and this is our monthly show we're doing with Bolivar Peninsula Special Utilities District with Brad Metz. And I'm going to tell you now, we're going to talk about the board, talk about the discovery group, but next month we're going to have Carrie Aycock in, which is a financial wizard, I guess you could say.
He really is.
And what he's doing is tracking, looking back at expenses, looking at the future, on where they stand and everything. And so just wanted to let you know, a lot of people have reached out and said, they haven't talked any money. Well, let's look at what expenses they have, what profits they've had in 2025, where they're looking at 2026. And then we'll also be able to look at some of the work going on. And so I just wanted to let everyone know ahead of time, next month in March, we'll be doing it, and it'll be right after the board meeting, so that we can give you an update on some other things. So we're going to start off by naming the board, because there's been a lot of questions on who's on the board. And so, Brad, if you'll tell us who's on the board at this time.
I certainly can. All right. Michael Plain, Michael Hoover, Shauna Williams, John Irvine, Carrie Aycock, Chris Houston, and myself.
Okay. So there's seven board members. Now, you have 2 positions open, and
Correct.
One of the questions that a lot of people have asked me is, David, how do you get on the board? So let's go through the process of, I want to be on the board. What do I need to do, and how is it? Is it voted publicly? Is it voted on the board? And let everyone know what process y'all take to find board members.
All right. There's a form you fill out. Just come into the office, get the little paper, fill it out. Then the next month, we'll take any and all the candidates in and interview them. Put a face to the paper and who they are and what they do and why they want to be on the board. Then we will vote on them. It's a board vote.
It's a board vote.
It is a board vote. And sometimes there's nobody applying, and then sometimes there's 5, 6 of them. So, and we'll do it all at one time for the most part, and then the board votes. Somebody will nominate 1 or 2 of them, and then the board votes. If that doesn't work, then they go to the next one.
Okay. So there you have it. And I know this information is on their website, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir, it is.
But in order to be a board member, and I'm just going to say, it's not a bit session. It's someone that you need to study. You need to know the water code so that you know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And I'll tell you right now, for the last 2.5, since our last show, especially the last 2.5 weeks, I have read more than I did my senior year in high school. In fact, this right here is the Special Utilities District, Chapter 65, Title 4, subchapter that gives a general provisions. I've read this 2 or 3 times. I've also read the TCQ website on some stuff. I've looked into WCID, which is Water Control Improvement District, which is like a MUD. I've read up on the MUD, and I suggest everyone take the time to read up on all those, because there's going to be some stuff coming up, whether it's gone to it or not, and you'll know exactly what they're talking about, what they can do, what they can't do, and how it's run. And so please take the time to read all of them, and don't get it off Reddit or somewhere else. Go to the source and read it. And that's what I printed off this one, and then I ended up saving the other one so I didn't have to run the paper off. But let's talk now about, we made a misrepresentation or didn't get the names right in the last show on the discovery group.
Correct.
And so the 3 people that are on the discovery group, who are they?
They are John Irvine,
Okay.
Kerry Acock, because he's so good with the numbers,
Okay.
and Chris Houston.
Okay.
Those
So
are the 3.
there's the 3. We said Mark DeSantis was on it last time, and he wasn't.
He's
and
not.
that was a mistake. They have 2 board positions open now. 2 people resigned and got off the board. And so now you know what it takes to become a board member, or at least be considered for a board member. I'm also going to say something else. In the last show, the first show, I said I was for the mud. A lot of people got offended by that and asked me if I'd traded sides. And at the time, I was for the mud. But in 3 weeks, I've also read a lot. I've asked a lot of questions. I've done a lot of research. And my personal opinion is, I think there's other routes that can be taken and that may be taken. The group that they've put together is a discovery group.
Correct. That's all
It's
they're doing.
strictly research. It has nothing to do with going to a mud district. It's just, in my personal opinion, I don't think they need it. I think with a little management in this new board, because y'all got quite a few new board members.
I'm the oldest member there, and I've been there 6 years.
Yeah, and so let's take a step back and let them do some research. They're going to look at mud. They're going to look at WCID. They're going to look at staying a SUD, and see what's going to be best for the community, both financially and for product. They've already come out and said that they're doing some of the work themselves to save money. And from what I hear, Kerry Acock is strictly a numbers person.
Strictly a numbers guy.
Figuring out the best possible way to get the upgrades that we need.
Exactly.
And there's been a question on upgrades and what they need. They've had one engineering group look at it. I believe you have someone else looking at it.
Now we have
another one looking at it.
And they are roughly 250, 300 grand to do the engineering.
Right.
Is what it costs.
And so, but Sheila's been working with TCEQ, getting extensions on upgrades and stuff, and working with them on what has to be done. And so they're doing everything they can in order to make sure we have what we need here. They're also bringing in, or not bringing in, cross-training some employees so that they can not only help in the field with putting the new meters in, but they can also do some construction work and repairs, from my understanding.
Right. As we convert to the smart meters, then everybody's, well, now you don't need your 3 or 4 water meter readers. What are they going to do? Well, they are training right now with the field crews to be able to go out. If one of them's on call, somebody has a leak at 10 o'clock at night, you call and they go and fix it.
Right.
The goal here is to have 2
full-time crews.
2 field crews full-time. Right now we just have 1, and it's 3 people plus the supervisor.
Right.
And 2 of them called in on Monday. So he had 1 person.
Right. And so there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Like I said, the biggest thing is there's really not an update on the discovery that they're doing. And so, but we're going to start next month with Kerry Acock, and we're going to start talking numbers. If there's any news on what they've looked at and found out on the mud, what they've looked at and found out on the WCID, what they can do as a SUD, we'll let you know, but I can tell you they're not going to do anything unless they don't go to anything and stay a SUD without having a public forum. And so to save a lot of heartache, please just, it's like I look at equipment. you know, and research equipment for 6 months, sometimes a year, before I buy something, because I want to make sure it's done the right way and I can use it, because we are a tourism center and we're limited on our funds. We don't have a hot tax. I work off what the businesses pay me here. And so, and I will say, I haven't gone up since before the pandemic on pricing, because I know what it means to the businesses down here. So, but research has to be done on anything you do, whether you're a business owner, or a restaurant owner, RV park, a photographer. Everything's research. Some research longer. A lot of times I'll research for 6-8 months, and then I'll table it and see, do I really need it? And that's sort of what the water department doing, or the BPSD is doing, is they're just doing the research to say, hey, what other options do we have to be able to afford this? You know, they may come back at some point and say, look, a mud's not going to work down here, even if we have a 1 cent on the 100 tax. But if we can do an increase a little bit, it'll save everyone a lot of money. And so, yes, our water bill's about $850 a year, I think, is what, $859 with tax and everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so my goal is to keep everything around there or lower in the long run. And so Brad came in this morning and we talked a little bit, and I said, you know, we really need to start talking numbers. And he said, well, my plan was to have Carrie come in next month so that we can start talking numbers on stuff. And so we're going to do some meetings between now and then, myself and Carrie, letting him know what we'd like to see and be able to put out, because we're going to talk about profits for 2025. We're going to talk about forecasts for 2026. We're going to talk about the bonds. And yes, an SUD can do a bond. Bonds, when they're coming due, which will alleviate, some of them may alleviate, what, $200 and some thousand or something. But we'll have all that information in our March show with Carrie. And then I think from there, people will start realizing, and he'll have some numbers on some repairs too, and forecasts for down the road on loans that they're going to have to take out and stuff like that.
I can give you a very brief overview of that. Carrie can give you the nuts and bolts of it.
Let's get Carrie to do it all at once.
Okay.
That way it's all in one show. There was some other things you said you wanted to touch on this show. Did I touch on everything, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I just had these bonds that were taken out in 2005.
Right.
And then restructured in 2009 because of Ike, and there was no income down here. They restructured those. And then our loan payment every year on top of that, and then our payment for the plant in Winnie that's $750,000 a year to the LNBA.
Yeah. So, but we're going to dive into the financial part of it with Carrie. And so there's really not an update on the Discovery Group.
No.
Probably won't be for a month or so, because nothing's going to be done. There's a lot of research having to be done. And now I've asked the question about even going to, if instead of a MUD, what's the possibilities of a WCID, and what's the difference in them? And then also, I've also asked, what if we stayed a SUD and just did some bonds or something like that? What's the possibilities on that? And so a lot of things are being done behind the scenes, but I can guarantee you they're not going to do anything or even think about doing anything without public comment. And so going to the meetings, I talked to a gentleman that is really an outsider looking in that went to the meeting. He was down here working and thought, you know, I'm just going to go up there and see what a board meeting's like because I've never been to one. And he said, I couldn't believe it. He said people were mad and they're just in discovery. It's like me researching material,
Yes.
you know, or a new vehicle. And so that's sort of what today's show is. Like I said at the beginning, I know a lot of people called me as soon as they saw the show and said, David, are you swapped sides? And I said, no, but I've got to do some research. And what I know right now, that was my opinion. Well, now I've given you my opinion. I've done a lot of research. Like I said, I've read the Special Utilities District, the WCID, the mud stuff. And it's really a lot of research to see what's going to fit, if anything will fit, for the needs of the Bolivar Peninsula community down here. So, but I can tell you, you're not going to lose water.
No.
You've got good water. In fact, I was telling someone again the other day, man, I can remember about 20 years ago, you didn't drink the water down here. You washed in it and you cooked with it, but you did not drink the water. And so, you know, for myself, the board and everyone, and for those that can't watch it on my Facebook page, they are going to be posting these shows on the water board website, or the water BPSUD district website. As soon as it plays today, it'll be done through YouTube so that anyone can watch it, or you can go to our channel on YouTube and watch it, because you don't have to be signed up or anything for it. So, Brad, is there any last words?
No, not that really come to my head.
Okay.
We can't. Everybody was talking, well, at my house and my neighbors. I can't think about your house, my house, or this. We've got 2 schools, we've got 3 fire departments, we've got countless businesses that we have to consider.
Well, and that's another thing, you know, it's not just water to the homes, it's water to the businesses, it's water to the fire hydrants.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot going on down here that's got to be fixed. And like I said, we're going to start next week with Carrie Acock diving into some of the financials. Brad may sit in on our show or two, but I can tell you, Carrie will probably be here for at least 1 show, probably 2 shows, so that we can get it all laid out and let you know exactly what expenses they have, what expenses they foresee, and how it's all gonna get meshed together and be able to operate in keeping us the good water that we have. So anyway, we're gonna head on out. If you have any questions, please let us know. Email us. You can email me at david@coastaloutdoorsgroup.com, and I'll forward them to either Brad or Carrie, and we can read them out in some of the shows to let you know, because I think about a lot, but then as soon as we finish this recording, I can tell you I'm going to remember something we need to talk about. But mainly today it was about the board. They've got 2 positions open. How can you apply for it? And making sure people knew who was on the discovery, which is a discovery group. It's not doing anything. So we had
a good, and I think it was Carrie that brought this up, or just made it the point, the best time to be looking at these kinds of things is when you don't have to do it. Because when you have to do it and your back's against the wall,
it always costs more.
Bad stuff happens. So this is the best time, because we don't have to do it.
Right.
Yeah, we're not.
But it's always good to look for the future, you know, and I said we can't look at the past because it's done. There's nothing we can do about it, but we can plan for the future, and that's sort of what they're doing, so that this doesn't happen down the road in 15 or 20 years when another group's here.
Exactly.
Because I don't know if I'll be here in 20
I don't know
years.
that I will be.
So, We're going to head on out. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye. Video equipment is sponsored by Crystal Beach Decor and More, located at 1959 Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas, and Beachy Beatnik Boutique and Jewelry, located at 970 Surfside and Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas. Thank you to these two businesses for being our 2025 video equipment sponsor for Bolivar Live.